For Christ sent me not to baptize, but to preach the gospel, not with wisdom of words, lest the cross of Christ should be made of none effect. 1 Corinthians 1 verse 17. Several things are said in this very informative passage. They are as follows. Firstly, for Christ sent me not to baptize. We learn here that water baptism is not to have the emphasis regarding the gospel, and neither should any church ordinance. The cross of Christ is to have the emphasis. Paul is not demeaning water baptism, but only requiring that it be placed in its proper perspective. It should be obvious to all that water baptism, as important as it is in its own way, is not essential to salvation. If it is essential, then the apostle thanked God that he saw so few saved. Now, it is essential to obedience, even as others claim for in that case. The apostle thanked God that he had made so few obedient. 1 Corinthians 1 verses 14 through 16. Secondly, but to preach the gospel. In this particular verse, we are emphatically told that the gospel of Jesus Christ is, in brief, the gospel is the cross of Christ. In other words, the cross must be the foundation of all we believe, teach, and practice. If it is not, then whatever it is we are proclaiming is, pure and simple, not the gospel. This is extremely important, as should be overly obvious. Our message is right. If our message is right, that is, we will get the result that a correct message brings forth. If the message is incorrect, there will be no favorable results. Let's say that again. If our message is right, we will get the results that a correct message brings forth. If the message is incorrect, there will be no favorable results, because there can be no favorable results. The entirety of the Christian faith rests on the correct message. If that message is corrupted, diluted, or perverted in any way, this means that it is no longer the gospel of Jesus Christ, but something entirely else. The message must be Jesus Christ and Him crucified. This is where the emphasis must be, and in every capacity. Thirdly, not with wisdom of words. Paul here plainly says that intellectualism is not the gospel. This means that humanistic psychology is not the gospel. Once again, the gospel is and must be the cross of Christ. Preaching of the gospel must preach the cross. Fourthly, lest the cross of Christ should be made of none effect. This tells us in no uncertain terms that the cross of Christ must always be the emphasis of the message. If it isn't, all that Christ did will be to no avail. This coming Sunday morning, how many preachers are making the cross of Christ of none effect because they are preaching a false message? Of course, only the Lord knows the answer to that. Sadly, however, most fall into that category. This means that few people are truly being saved. Few are baptized with the Holy Spirit. Few are delivered, if any. As should be obvious, we should be very, very careful what we do. Nothing that makes the cross of Christ of none effect.
Can you play a little bit, Danny?